Round 2.
Ding, ding.
Right.
What's up, brother?
What's happening, bro? For those that didn't tune in last week, I suggest you go back to that episode, catch up, tune into this one, share the broadcast with your friends. You know, we're getting comments already. Ah, yes, Alan Amy, my brother.
My man. Dude, I cannot wait to watch. Like what I tell you in the back room, I cannot wait to watch his podcast. I thought of him all night last night when I was watching there's this show on Hulu, Vice, and it's behind the scenes. It's this behind the rope type thing.
Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes. And I was watching the Road Warriors episode, and all I could think of was Alan and his podcast. I saw Chris Vant. What's up, brother? How are you? Go Jets.
Right,
I'm sorry, man. The Cardi's here.
Man, my Raiders took a dump too, man. Tragic.
Well, at least you have a team. Mine doesn't have a name. I don't even,
The Washingtons. The Washington football team.
They're going to announce on the 2nd. I don't know what it's going to be. I have a feeling they're going to stick with the Washington football team.
I love this.
Hi, Andrea.
I love people tuning in. So last week we left off with, where do we leave off, Bob? Just growing up in Phillipsburg and
it was more or less just our experiences growing up in the town of Phillipsburg. We didn't get to any of the sports or politics or why I'm so angry today.
Right. And it seems that we will be diving into that.
Absolutely.
So we'll start with sports. We'll start with youth sports. And you were a coach for quite some time.
Yeah. Started when I was 18 years old with Powell, because that's where I grew up, was in Powell in Firth Town.
Down the street, bro, down the hill.
Yeah. I had great coaches.
Right.
Great coaches. Alan's uncle, Jeff, was a coach of mine. Marvin Johnson, great coach of mine. Coach Apgar, Jason Apgar's father, great coach. Richie Kranich. I mean, I had a wonderful set of coaches in wrestling. Frank McVeigh.
Right.
Again, I say it all the time. One of the best coaches I've ever had. But I coached flag football for Powell when I was 18 years old, and it was a 1-year stint. And then I eventually went and had my oldest, Jackson. When I was 24, so that time between, I didn't coach. After my son was born, I think it was like 2005. 2005 or 2006, I began coaching with the Steel Hill Bulldogs. It could have been a year later. I can't really remember the date. I just remember bringing my son over to Steel Hill because they were the only team that had a flag team at the time. And I was unaware that my son could play anywhere. And I met a man by the name of John Turnbull, who just happens to be the president of the league today. John was a very good friend to me. And he took my son. He took him last to sign up. So he was drowned out in his 99 jersey. And he was a little skinny 5-year-old. The following year, John asked me to coach, and I happily obliged. And I coached with Steel Hill for a very long time. 2014, I believe I left, and I went with the Firth Town Falcons and then the Phillipsburg Little Liners. And I stopped coaching in 2019.
Firth Town Falcons, Little Liners. It's funny how sports teams make the town divided in a good way. It's friendly competition.
It is. I think adults, and I was one of them, and I think adults sometimes take it to the extreme. And
everything.
I look back in the past, I reflect a little bit. There are things that I could have done a lot differently. But I think that ultimately we have to focus on the kids and teach them, we're supposed to be teaching them the sport, not who they play with. We shouldn't be teaching them to hate each other. And I think that that's really what was coming out of that for a little while. But now we're, I'd love to see the Firth Town Falcons come back. I really would. It's unfortunate, but they fell victim to politics earlier this year. and I'm hoping that they'll be resurrected. So
I think everything happens for a reason, and I think everything that's supposed to happen, you know, does. And whether it be unfortunate or not, there's always a lesson behind it. And I believe that the Fairtown Falcons will be back and better than ever.
I hope so. I hope so. If there's one man that can resurrect it, that would be Matt Skirbo.
Shout
Um,
shout outs to my brother Masco. But before we go any farther, I'd like to publicly shout out my nephew and my godson, Matt Skirbo Jr., who is
yes,
handing out nothing but work on the varsity level as a freshman, certified killer.
young Matt is. Listen, and I love Big Matt, but young Matt is going to far surpass every record his father has ever set.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. For
he
sure.
fantastic, fantastic human being, and I know Matt Senior wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
So
Great kid.
yeah,
Academically, athletically, you know.
just
So I just wanted to, because I know Scurb's watching. I just wanted to say shout out to Junior, man. He
yes.
deserves all the accolades he's gonna get. Yo, hold on, there's another guy.
Here's my
And
man.
let's be clear. There's some people that are watching right now that came up with us and grew up with us. I remember learning how to shoot pool at Glenmore Variety,
Western Auto.
Western Auto.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
man. Was it Jason Abgar?
he was one of them. He was one
So
of them.
I just saw App come in, and he also was a very big part of my childhood,
Oh
and
yeah.
love him to death. The only thing I don't love, Jay, you're out there, is the fact that you are a huge Easton fan, and I'm still waiting for you to come over and put on the garnet. So whenever you're ready.
There's a bunch of, and like, you know, Cartagena and Skirbo on the basketball court worked with me endlessly for hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're
Hours.
fantastic guys. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we got comments coming in, man. Peaburg Sports loved all my coaches growing up. Love my coach. Charles Johnson did so much for so many. True. Joan Pierce says, hi, guys.
Hi,
I'm sure
Jonah.
Matt is blushing. You know, hey, App was one of the ones that taught me how to stick people playing football.
He was, and probably still is, one of the toughest SOBs you'll ever meet. His reputation precedes him. I've seen him in the thick and thin, and he is. I tell you what, if there was, I was very happy that he was a friend of mine growing up, without a doubt.
Mm, Oh, hold on. Wait a second. You see it, bro.
Oh,
I don't
I
even want
love.
to
Look
read.
at him, man.
I don't
Yo,
even want to read it out loud, bro.
I love
All
him though.
decked out in red and
But
bulldoggy and
see where
whatever.
he is? He's watching us, and he's in Parkland.
Yeah, I'm not
Love him.
mad, man. Shout out to you, App.
Love him. Love him.
Um, Far from the right with Bobby Fulper said back in the day, Powell, Furtown, Still Hill, Holy Name, Heckman Terrace, Heckman Annex, Delaware Heights, Bernardy May should have them all today. Holy smokes, they should. That just brought back so many memories. Like, I played soccer for Holy Name for 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. I also don't know how my podcast is commenting, but it's not me, just so you know. I don't know who's doing that.
Yeah, I'm watching you, so it physically can't be.
My hands are here.
Right.
Yeah, no, and that's true. We should bring back every single one of those teams, every single one. It's probably one
Yeah.
of the admins from the page that are commenting. They don't realize
Not,
they're
I'm not mad at that. Rebecca Berger said, I can't wait for my son to play football again for the Little Liners.
uh, hey, there he is, the legend.
So as he chimes in, I wanted to say thank you to Mr. McVeigh, you and Bobby for awarding me the key to the city, sir. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated.
He's a good dude, bro.
What happened to all those clubs and teams, Bobby?
Well, politics happen to all those clubs and teams. It's unfortunate, like I said, about adults intervening, and Powell unfortunately was fell victim to politics. They should never have been closed or shut down.
Right.
And earlier this year, we saw again The Firthtown Falcons were dismissed and effectively shut down as well, to be replaced with a new team called the Phillipsburg Bobcats, which also fell to its demise because of ineffective and inefficient leadership here in the town.
So I have a little surprise for you.
You do?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, what's up, dude?
He gets me in trouble every time he's around.
That's no. That is not true. That is not true. That is not true.
Bad. He's going to say something bad. I know him.
I'm not going to say anything bad. I promise.
All right.
I promise.
Mike Sexton, my brother, how are you?
I'm good, man. I am good. I am relaxing right now in a certain radio studio lounge. Taking, I'm going to knock that over. Taking, I don't know, like a 20, 30-minute break. And then I get to write more jokes and make fun of more celebrities. And so, yeah, it's good. It's all good, TJ. Yo, I need an entrance song. I need you to play me some Ghostface Killer, Motherless Child. And then reintroduce me. I know this is live, but just do it. And pretend I'm not here.
If I could.
Is it copyright infringement? Is that why?
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
it'll get flagged and took down faster than the live takes to broadcast.
Bro, I got an army full of Jewish lawyers. I promise you.
Yep.
I'm part of the
take
tribe.
A hard right turn. I told you.
No, they go to bat for me, dog. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. I speak fucking Hebrew. Wait, can I curse? Can I do that? Bleep it out. Post-production. Just do that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Hey,
what was the conversation about before I joined?
Sports. We were talking about sports teams.
I love sports. Go ahead, fire away.
You were on my baseball team when we were kids.
Yes, Firthtown Falcons.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yes.
Man, hold on. Time out, Mike. You're on a 10. We need you on a 5.
I'm good, dog.
I wanna thank you for surprising Bobby and coming on, because like us three came up together.
Yes. 100%.
Beautiful thing.
It really is.
Beautiful thing, man.
And we all succeeded in our own way.
Oh man, I'm so happy to be here.
Like, P-Berg made us who we are.
For sure.
For real.
This made my night, guys, because I was having a horrible day. But this made my day.
And we're gonna get into it. Before that, Mike, can we get your thoughts on all the sports teams growing up in town locally? Holy Name, Burnley, May, Powell, Still Hill, Firthtown.
Even Greenwich and Bloomsbury. Yeah, I was huge Firthtown Falcons baseball.
Right, same.
Played, I think, 12 years.
Right.
Most of them for Tom Badeau. Great coach, great man, great family in P-Berg. Right. And he was, I'm telling you, that guy, he's a saint. Because as a kid, I sucked, right? Like, awful. And I remember he was like, I don't know. I remember I was in the outfield doing something. They were trying to hide me, you know? Like, oh, no one's going to hit it to left. Put Sexton in left. So they did. And I remember being out there for, I don't know, this is like the 5th inning. So game's practically over. And I'm out there for like 5-10 minutes. And I immediately start daydreaming and picking the flowers. And Tom is trying to get my attention without embarrassing me. And then finally, all you hear is, Sexton, leave the flowers alone. And I was like, I like the flowers. And then I was, nope, I'm done. That was it. But I will say this, and I challenge anybody listening, especially, no one rode the bench like Sexton. I mean, listen, if we had a water boy, yeah, that's me.
Yo, Jai, shout out to Jai's another one that we all came up. Jai, much love to you, brother.
Yes.
Jai, give me Oreo.
Mike,
Yes. Back to the teams, right?
No, before we get sidetracked,
Yeah.
what was Phillipsburg like?
I didn't
for
get to
you?
tell you how much I thought Still Hill sucked.
Oh, come on.
We're getting there. There might be a whole segment for that,
Bro.
Not in this mouth.
Don't do the come on. I listen. I bleed first town maroon and white.
I get that. I do want to give a very, very heartfelt, sympathetic condolences to the Steel Hill Bulldogs, honestly, for the loss of one of their own. They lost their vice president and probably one of the most dedicated members of Phillipsburg in general to dedicate his life to coaching children, and that was Keith Gargone.
Was that recently, Bobby?
It was. Keith recently lost his battle with cancer at 53 years old. And he was just an all-around great human being. Keith and I had our differences over the years, but I will say this, towards the end, the past 6 to 8 months, Keith and I spent a lot of time talking and repairing a lot of old wounds. And I can tell you that he just was an insanely great human being and dedicated to the kids. So I know that we say this in jest, I just want to say that, he really was just a great human being. And that ball club does have a lot of good people in it. So,
rest in peace to Keith Gargone, and many prayers and condolences to his family.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Mike, what was Phillipsburg like for you growing up?
Oh man, it was the best. I was born on Chamber Street. I lived there until I was 6, and my uncle Kevin, he had muscular dystrophy. He passed. So when he passed, my mom and dad couldn't bear to be in the house. So we moved to Mercer Street. And so from 6 up, it's just been Mercer Street. And I made it was a community. Like everybody knew everybody. You didn't mouth off to anybody because you didn't know whose mom was listening. Like,
right, for sure.
And I'm telling you, I remember,
there you go.
There you go. Debbie and Bowden just chimed in. Hello.
Debbie knows. Like Debbie knows. Debbie, maybe later I'll tell the story of how Tunner and Frankie took me to Dorney Park and made me pee my pants. That was fun. I love Tunner Pyatt. I miss Tunner Pyatt so much. I miss Frank. My Uncle Frank is the best. But yeah, you were scared to death to do anything because you didn't know whose mom was listening. You didn't know because you would get beat, and then there's a phone call. So when you go home, you got beat again, and it's like, man, wasn't worth it. Fun story. I love Jesse Delgado. Love him. I remember I was at his house, and me, Jesse, Danny, Jeremy, we were all playing baseball in the backyard, and I remember I was pitching, and I threw the ball, and Jesse swung and missed, but the ball actually went through the kitchen window, and his mom, bigger lady, especially when you're like 8, like everyone's a giant.
Everyone's a giant.
She came out of that house. I think that was the first time I ever squealed. Like, you know how you get just so scared, you're like, ah, like you turn into a member of the Bee Gees. That's what happened. Yeah. And I was like, my last name just suddenly flipped to Gibb. And so I take off running because, I mean, you don't have to touch 100 degrees and know it's hot. You don't have to stand in front of like a charging bull to know you're going to get run over. I took off. I went right behind Unimart, Quick Check, wherever it was called back then. And she was behind me. I'm doing 90 easy. And this she was so pissed. She was like 75, doing 75. Like, we both would have been pulled over for speeding if we were in vehicles. Like, it was insane how far I had to run away before she started wheezing and had to stop. Like, it was crazy. And I didn't go back to his house for like 2 months because I ain't stupid. She's going to hold a grudge. Eventually she got over it because we had to My mom and dad had to buy a new window. But you know, it was my thing. That's on me. That's all right. We're cool
Yeah,
now,
man.
though.
Yeah, man.
Now, moving forward, I was talking to Bobby. Now, the next question I have, and Mike, feel free to chime in accordingly whenever you want. I wanted to know from Bobby what made him get into politics and put that target on his back.
Oh, for me, it was easy. I wanted. No, I'm kidding, Bobby. Go ahead.
Um, yeah, the truth is that I've always enjoyed helping people from my community. And I think that
Oh, that's good.
coaching kids was you coach a lot of the less fortunate too as well, right?
Mhm.
So I got to see um a lot of the families, you had a lot of good families, a lot of great families, but you also had a lot of poverty-stricken families as well. And it was the first time in my life where I actually felt that, maybe if I got involved, I could make a difference and we'd see less of that,
Right.
right? Um, so it propelled me into politics. And, I found out the hard way that, in politics, a majority of politicians only care about themselves. They don't care about the people. And again, that was a hard lesson to learn. And I learned that in a very fast, swift moving 4 years. And there were very few politicians like Frank McVeigh, like Randy Piazza, like Mark Lutz, that had proven that they care more about the people than their own agendas or themselves. And I'm still witnessing it right now with Pete Marino, who's doing a fantastic job. And there are a lot of good people out there, but it's sad because they get lost in the mix because of all these poor politicians who they have no problem lying. They have no problem, I saw it last night for the very first time. And again, I didn't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I was really upset last
Do
night,
it.
really upset all day because the people are suffering. I watched our mayor misrepresent the Union Square redevelopment, and he purposely tanked it. And I was watching him tank it right before my very eyes under false pretenses, and he didn't care. He did it because he did not like Frank McVeigh, and that's not a reason to not redevelop a piece of land. It's just not. Throw away your glass ego and do it. Get it done because the people, they really do depend on us. Now, I'm no choir boy, right? I'm not. We know I'm
Sure,
not.
me
When I got in
neither.
there, like I said
At
in
all.
the very last interview we did, I did let the hate consume me at one point in time. And you know,
Like Darth Vader.
well, I did. I don't know about the Darth Vader reference, but I really
Yeah.
did, and I was very upset, and I let it detract me and throw me off course. But again, I'm finding my way back. It's never too late. I still think that there's a lot of people that can be helped, and I plan on doing a lot more over the next couple years as a resident. I have a lot of side projects going on, and I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that redevelopment gets done and that all of the wrongs that have been committed are righted. And I have zero problem exposing anyone for what they've done. So,
Yeah, I see this one being a topic of conversation.
I listen. Um, you know, it was Martin Luther King Jr. I think the quote was, "Our lives begin to end right the day that we become silent about things that matter," and that is couldn't be a more truer quote. So if I remain silent, if everyone who has seen this and they just stay quiet, it continues to happen. Now we suffered a setback, right? We lost, and we lost fair in a fair election, right? You can't take that away from anyone, and I don't begrudge anyone. And I'm actually rooting for these new
I do,
members.
though.
For these new
I
members,
begrudge.
well, you do.
You're a better man than me. I think I'm coming back and I'm going to run for
Well,
something.
you can. I'm
I
just
will.
saying that
I
you
will.
can't.
I want to
It's
debate so many people.
you can't.
I can't what?
I want to bring up Matt Skirbo's comment.
What'd he
Sure.
say?
He said it's hard to break up the good old boys club. We're going to need an army of good-hearted Phillipsburg residents to bring the truth and lies to the forefront.
Yeah, that's because Matt Skirbo's a freaking genius.
So let me,
Like he's 100% right.
if I may, rephrase, and I'd like to also add Matt Skirbo to the pool of politicians, if you will, that were true to themselves and only cared about the people. Matt, I have never seen someone other than, myself, Frank, and Randy and Mark fight so hard on behalf of the kids or on behalf of the town. He loves this town and he's very passionate about it. And
We're like
Matt
Wu-Tang.
suffered because of it.
We're for the children.
It was. So Matt's right. The good old boy club is out there and we watched it. We're watching it right now. And it's
been watching it.
Yeah, it's sad. It's why this town has never progressed.
It angers me.
Yeah,
it's frustrating. All kidding aside, it's very frustrating.
Yes,
you're firmly killing the opportunity.
The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results.
Yep.
Sounds pretty spot on to me.
It's Phillipsburg, and they can't seem to get out of their own way, and it's sad. I mean, there are evil people in this world, and I've seen, I think, just about every one of them that live in the town of Phillipsburg in my 4 years.
And like, to be clear, this is not, I didn't bring you guys on here to bash some place that we love and that we grew up in.
No,
at all. No, but some changes need to happen.
Oh, it's not 100%. The majority. It's not the majority. Listen, and like I said in the very last one, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would cast my vote for Steve Ellis. And there was a lot of things that I said about Steve, but I'll say this: at least I knew where Steve stood, and I do believe that, unlike our current mayor, Steve cared more. So I've made, like I said, I've made mistakes, and it's unfortunate. Now, again, Steve and I don't get along. We don't see eye to eye. We have different pathways. But like I said, for the next 2 years, I'm gonna right some wrongs, and we're gonna have to move forward. But Matt's right. We're gonna need an army, and we have to fight for the people that we grew up with and the people that we're watching grow up right now that have nothing. Our town is an 18% poverty rate, and we're nixing redevelopment projects for what? To become Easton's parking lot? To carry out personal agendas? It's crazy.
Right.
It's just absolutely nuts.
It's very disheartening. There's no reason why we can't thrive.
No, not at all.
You're seeing it right across the river.
Yeah, for real. Like,
you're literally seeing it before your eyes.
Downtown Easton is light years ahead.
Yes.
Right. And the same developer that did a majority of those projects is the same developer that wants to build the manufacturing or distribution center back on Howard Street. Now, no, I know it's not a residential area, okay? But even when it was a residential project that he wanted to build back there, the very same people came out with the same arguments, talking about traffic and all kinds of crazy things. But now they're saying no more warehouses. To me, it just is no more jobs. It's not on the riverfront. It's a bunch of, quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's propaganda. It's not on the riverfront. But the council last night passed an application for the junkyard license. They had no problem doing that. It's 20 feet away from where this property is. That would be a warehouse.
Right.
So they openly admit to it being an industrial area. Yeah. We all remember that area.
Yeah.
Why continue to give them the license? Right. It's an industrial area. They're basically saying that, I know what's happening here. That specific developer is being targeted. I don't know why, other than the fact that he didn't pave the other half of Lock Street, from what I was told, by Harry Wyatt. Harry Wyatt actually looked at me and said, his exact words were, I was just newly elected. Harry Wyatt looks at me and says, Mike Perucci didn't pave the other half of Lock Street, and I blame you. And he looked at Frank McVeigh and he said, and I blame you. And I never saw that before, because I didn't do anything, and I didn't even know about this agreement that supposedly existed. But I'm thinking, weren't you mayor for the 20 years? Why didn't you get it paved?
Maybe he was smelling some toast and tasting pennies. You don't know if he was having a stroke at the moment.
Nah, listen, I
He could
know.
have been.
I've
Accidents happen. TJ, you're laughing. Listen, I'm a man of
told you
science.
he
Okay.
gets me in trouble every single time, TJ. Every time. Every time.
It takes it'll be a good 13-minute serious segment,
Yeah.
and then Mike's like, wait a second.
He is funny though. He is funny.
Hilarious.
His Uncle Frank stories are
Shout out to my guys, Code of the Streets. Chris Vance said he will always be at P-Burg. P-Burg's always home.
What's up, Chris Vance?
There's so many people commenting. If I don't get to all your comments, it's because obviously I'm quite intrigued by the conversation we're having.
We have a lot of great people, man, in the town of
Sure.
Phillipsburg.
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't want it to seem like we're attacking or that I'm attacking anyone in general. I was really upset. I saw the hard work every day for 4 years. Mark Lutz, Frank McVeigh, Randy Piazza put into that project. And all that had to be done was one sit down, one negotiation. The land is worth $186,000, not $2 million. You just had shovels would have been in the ground in September of 2021. And here we are, 2022, and nothing's been done down there because, you know, Todd sat on it. And it kills me to know that this is what's happening. You know, it's a horrible feeling to know that we were right on the brink. We were right on the precipice.
Mike, your sister chimed in and said, imagine what it was like living with Mike as a kid.
It was effing awesome. That's what it was like. Like, yay, you won the brother lottery. That's what you got. You got this. I'm all about the business.
Mike, what are you doing with yourself these days?
Doing a lot. Down in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm what?
Getting me sued.
Stop it. I collect cease and desist letters that are sent to Bobby Fulper. Don't know why they're not addressed to me. I'm the one doing it. But anyway, I love them. I love the letters. I love Bobby.
I love you too, buddy.
Yeah. My favorite letter was from. Can I say names?
We'd rather not. I don't want any cease and desist letters. Okay. Thank you.
Well, if you get any from here. Hey, if you get any from this, you gotta send them to me. Send them down to me, and I'll frame them and put them in my home office like I did the other ones.
Can you do a rhymes? Can you do a rhymes with? I really want to know who.
Can I do a rhymes with?
I have to know who his favorite one was.
My favorite one. It rhymes with broken pecker.
Gotcha.
No, maybe not the broken part. Maybe that one doesn't. But the second part of it.
Yep. Should have known better.
Yeah. You know,
knew better.
It's all right. We all have. Listen. Everything curves around. You know, there's bumps in the road. Nothing's. You know, just as it always seems. You guys are probably thinking of someone completely different than who I'm referring to. So. Yeah, unless you're thinking of someone. Can I say that, like, can I do a rhymes with occupation just to see if we're on the same page?
No, we are on the same page, Michael.
I know who you're talking about. I mean, I think the majority of people, I don't know you're talking
Listen, I don't know if they know. This is Bobby Fulper. Stop acting like you're the boss of me. This is TJ's show.
Not. This is TJ's
This is TJ's show. TJ might be like, go ahead, Mike. Drop his occupation. I'd be like, word.
We're not doing that.
I won't, though. You know what? Bobby wanted me to, TJ, and I'm not.
I have some ties there, and we're not doing that.
No, I'm all for not doing that. Let's keep it discreet. What was your question, TJ?
What are you doing with yourself other than coming on here and having a blast?
I am having a blast. I'm talking with old friends. Like, I love this. I'm doing really good. Being really, really busy. Right. Doing a lot of writing. I get paid for content.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of jokes. A lot of radio stuff. I won't mention the CBS affiliate because, you know, there's idiots up there. And oh, by the way, yo, what's up, Rogie? And I was thinking, like, I would not make fun of everyone because I'm all about bringing people together. TJ, that's what we did. Whether it was like sitting on the stoop and studying Wu-Tang lyrics, to shooting some pool, across from we kept it real, and it was a lot of fun. And I like community. I like bringing people together. I like when Bobby Fulper is like around, and then Frank and Randy and Mark Lutz. Like, we're all so cool, and it's like we're the opposite of the people who won the current election. But that's all right, because you get to go through the process again, and
we
what
have
are you
a
gonna do?
question.
Hey,
We have a question from Debbie. She wants to know that if you're a comedian and that's what you do for a living.
I'm not. I do some horrible stand-up. I get paid very little for it. I get paid a lot more for my radio content, and I get paid in love from appearing on Spitting with Spitter and Bobby Fulper. Bobby Fulper, I see lust in his eyes.
I am.
It's okay.
I'm sorry I made it tonight, TJ.
He's playing hard to get. I see you, Bobby Fulper.
He's hilarious.
I can see Thank you. Every time I see you, I end up sued.
No, it's just a threat of listen, for the morons that are listening, like not the good people, just the people who send cease and desist letters. You know who you are. For you idiots, you cannot sue for comedy parody. You can't do it. I mean, you could try to do it, but it's why Weird Al Yankovic doesn't get sued. Like, it's blatant copyright infringement, but it's comedic parody, so you get away with it. It happens. Now, if you're dumb and you didn't know that, oh yeah, like, oh, I'm gonna get you. But you can't, Mr. Pecker. You can't do it. I mean, you could try to do it, and you could seriously keep sending them, because they look great on my freaking wall. But yeah, I love you guys.
Much love, Mike. Much love.
I love you too.
If there wasn't a more Phillipsburg show.
Listen, I've been in Memphis, Tennessee now for 10 years. This is my 10th year. And before that, I was in Midtown Manhattan, Soho. And before that, it was New Brunswick, Rutgers, and Pittsburgh. I do not love any place, including Memphis, I could say that, as much as I love Phillipsburg. Like, as a kid who grew up very poor, I loved the thought of every summer morning getting up and walking the Waters Park pool, and know that I could go to convenient corner, tell Doug, give me a cheesesteak or a burger, leave convenient corner, walk across the Firth Youth Center footbridge, go to Waters Park, buy a couple Chico sticks, and get a He-Man Italian ice. And my day was set. I'd get benched for running and stuff like that, because the lifeguards were dicks. But I mean, shout out to the lifeguards if you guys are still alive. And
one of them's the superintendent of the high school right now, by the way. He's
word?
Great human. Yeah, Greg Troxel.
Greg Troxel, he was a great human being. I love him. Thanks.
Well, I actually really
for
do
all the timeouts, Greg.
Just so you know, I love Greg Troxel.
Yeah, I love it. Dude, I'm not exaggerating. And I have nothing but love for anybody, Bobby Fulper. I love you right now. And I see you looking at me, and I see you, TJ, getting all jealous. Just calm down. Calm down.
Yo.
But yeah, I mean,
Chico sticks were to die for.
Yes,
like, let's be
and they were cheap as hell. That's like the Hug juices, like the Hugs.
They tasted
It was
horrible.
Just the best.
I hated those. I'm not gonna lie.
Get a bag of sunflower seeds.
Yeah. So,
but I love Pittsburgh.
Let's take a little bit more of a serious turn. I got a question for you guys.
Good.
You've been here. You grew up here. You still drive through the area. What do you
Hello?
think? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Did you mute yourself, Mike? This is
He did.
hilarious.
He did.
Yeah,
He did. He
he
muted
did.
himself.
Is my mic working?
Loud
Yes.
it. Yeah. You can hear me?
No, I don't
I
think
love
it's
it.
working. Hey,
All
can you
right.
guys hear
Serious.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Awesome. So we can just continue with the show.
Go out and come back in.
I can't hear them. Can you
That is-
raise up my?
That's hilarious.
Serious question.
So my serious question was, yeah, I love Mike. Mike is a fantastic human being, and his jokes will continue for the rest of the evening. What do you think that Phillipsburg needs, honestly, in order to come out of this stale, stagnant atmosphere we're currently in? What do we need?
That's a big question. Like it's a bunch of different things. We need to reinvent what our downtown looks like to provide more than just, and no slight to the mom and pop shops, more than just the mom and pop shop jobs. We need a bigger industry in Phillipsburg that provides jobs for the people that are in town to make the town flourish a little bit.
And I agree. I truly do. And you find these small businesses, not all of them, a select few that will fight against progress. But you see the other small businesses that are cheering for these industries to come into town because they know that that's where their money comes from.
Right.
Frank and I one day, the old Tom's Lunch, love
Right.
Tom's Lunch. There was a restaurant that was there. They had opened up. Frank and I went down, and we had told them about the project, and they were so excited for the project back on Howard Street. And when it was taking longer than expected, didn't come to fruition, that restaurant has since closed. And that's the kind of things that we're seeing. We're seeing that these small business owners will rely on this traffic, and all you hear is truck traffic. But what about the
Listen,
employee traffic?
I hate to say this, but any place that thrives and makes money, there's traffic
All everywhere.
everywhere.
Do you know that one of the largest pollutants, if not the largest pollutant, is locomotive?
Yeah.
And Phillipsburg prides itself on the train.
Yeah.
So when I
I get it. And I get it
Yeah.
that the train, that's a big draw come wintertime for the Polar Express and for the Easter Bunny and all the stuff that it does.
Right.
I get it. It's a big draw.
And I love it, and I'm not against it. That's not my point. My point being is that you get these people that come out and they say, "Oh, well, it's horrible for the environment. Trucks are bad for the environment." Well, newsflash, so is, the train, and so is hairspray, and so is everything else that they're saying. I'm not one of those guys. I don't personally believe in man-made climate change. I don't think it's gonna burn the world up from the inside out. And, if you're one of those guys, I respect it. That's great.
Right.
But you know what? If the amount of Aquanet being used in the 80s did not consume the earth, we're gonna be okay, people. We're gonna be
For
okay.
sure. For sure.
It's
For
just
sure.
that we need these things, and you're right. We
We
do
need to
need.
we need to broaden our horizons and we need to
Yes.
open our mind. Like, let's
We
be clear, like, and this is no slight, like, so I love the Phillipsburg youth or the Firth Youth Center.
Sure.
Raised me primarily, right?
Absolutely. Every day after school too.
For sure. Let's do something for the kids. Listen, I know a lot of kids that are between 16 and 21 years old that are up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Listen, if you need me to come run that gym until 3 o'clock in the morning so these kids have a place to play ball and have a place to come where they feel safe, I'll be that person. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
get some of the kids off the streets, employ some of the kids.
So it is a
You know?
private organization. It's a nonprofit private organization. It's not overseen by the town, and I do think that they
Right.
are doing a very good job.
Oh my,
Um,
yo, they are doing a fantastic job.
it's never been better, and, I get a lot of flack, clearly, I understand why, but again, Jeff Russo, who is president,
Love Jeff.
very good friend of mine, and we've had conversations where the town's loss was their gain, and it wouldn't have been able to flourish the way it did if we still shared that type of position within the town, because
Right,
you can't focus on doing 2 different things at one time.
right.
They needed someone who could just focus on the youth center, and I think that's why the youth center it's phenomenal. I mean, it finally has air conditioning. It's host to a whole new, plethora of activities and events. And again, I think it's nice to have here in the town of Phillipsburg. I do think that the
Absolutely.
town should own some type of rec center,
Yeah.
like the Forks Township Rec Center that should be free. And we had that also on the back burner. Of course, that it suffered because of the amount of donation that was pledged to us anonymously did falter because of outside interference, um, you know, politics yet again. But it still could have happened. We still can get that done. But I just don't see there's no motivation in the current politicians to see anything really good happen in the town of Phillipsburg. They
That's
want it to be status quo, and it can't remain status quo. It it's like we're on hospice care, and they
right.
want us even though there's a cure out there, it's like we're on hospice care. Do you know what I mean? We
It's
have
like
the
this, right? We, if we, and this is, I imply this in everything in my life: strategize, prioritize, organize, find the goal, and move forward.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, I see a lot of times everybody is so based on what's wrong, and I'd much rather be based in the solution.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because that's the one thing that I did wanna say at the last time we had a conversation during the last show, was we were talking about
Love
Butch,
you, Chris.
right?
Yeah,
Thanks, brother. I love you too. And we were talking about Butch Tiger and God rest his soul, right? But he was an icon here in the town of Phillipsburg, right, wrong, or indifferent. He truly was. And
for sure.
when he passed away, he had nothing, right? Uh, Blaine Feely, the
Hmm.
notorious Blaine Feely, who, for the record, Blaine and I did not start off on the right foot at all. He actually threatened to burn my house down, and somewhere out there, he's laughing about that. It's okay because I do too. But that's again, you take the bad with the good, and I've grown to know him as someone who truly does care about the town. Okay,
He's got an absolute heart of gold for Phillipsburg.
he paid for the tombstone himself. He said
Right,
it himself. He does a lot of volunteer work. He does more volunteer work than some of the politicians who ridicule him.
right,
He does a ton of volunteer work. And, Randy Piazza, when he was elected, said, I want to recognize Blaine Feely for this. Well, I agreed immediately because Blaine, he really does do a lot of good things for the town of Phillipsburg. Now, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, my answer would have been completely different.
right.
But, those blinders we talked about, and everybody's always judging people for the bad. You have to take those off at one point in time and see people for who they really are.
I got judged for like 20 years for
Right.
all the. Listen, I did terrible things.
Me too.
You
It's like
know.
we live in medieval times. We were talking about movies earlier
Yeah.
and what kind of movies we like. You know, because we didn't have those noble last names, we weren't considered royalty. We
Right.
were considered trouble. We were considered the bad guys. For all intents and purposes, we shouldn't be here today on this show talking about the things that we want to do for the town of Phillipsburg because we wouldn't have a say, right?
Absolutely.
And that was just one of the things that I wanted to point out was, we spent so much time focusing on the negative, and
Right.
we caught a lot of flack when we gave Blaine a proclamation for what he did, and I
Well
felt it was right.
deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. He
Thank you,
he
Miss Debbie.
he does a lot, and it really bothered me, when I see that type of criticism, and it's really one thing that I also when we were talking about like Steve Ellis, I want to change too about myself. Like I want to, if the criticism is warranted, fine. If it's not, then I really need to go back and right my wrongs and listen, I'm sure Steve, there were some things that I said to Steve that were totally, I probably shouldn't have said, right? But there's things he said to me too that we should have said. We got caught up in the heat of the moment. But I don't feel that way about the current set of people right now in town because I've had conversations with them, and they don't want to do well for the people of this town because they look down on us. They do. They don't feel that we are their equal. They feel they're superior to us. They have a lot of people fooled, but I really think that the tide is turning, and I think that the people are moving in more of a direction to where there's strength in numbers, and we realize now the only way to change Phillipsburg is to do it as a group because not one politician is going to do it, not two politicians. We couldn't even get it done with a fully elected council. We need the people behind us.
Right. And I left Greg's comment up here because it hit me. People's bad judgment is what made us who we are today.
Right. And he's right.
Missy says, we live, we learn, we have experience, and we grow. Absolutely. My brother Alan says, I have a noble last name.
He does have a noble last name. Listen, I love the guy. He does. He's a phenomenal human being. But let's be honest, Alan, you guys, your family is a fantastic family. And I mean, Jesus, man, I can't even think of my past in Phillipsburg without an Amy being present.
For sure.
7-Eleven, Alan Amy was there every night working. I grew up with Bobby riding bikes, raising hell. I don't know. It's just Phillipsburg.
Sammy Melbourne says, well, your house wasn't burned down. We all miss you over here.
Tammy, thank you. Listen, I miss my old neighborhood so much. I really did want to buy my father's estate. We did go back and take a look at it. It's unfortunate, but it's not in the type of condition where I can purchase it. I can't. It would take a massive investment. My mother as well went and took a look at it. It's unfortunate, but I loved all of my neighbors. Marshall Street was just a fantastic. Marshall, Railroad, Wilson. What a wonderful neighborhood.
Shout outs to and another one. Shout outs to the Flowers. Oh. Shout out to you, Miss Rita. Much love to you.
Rita Flowers. She already knows how I feel. I don't even need to say it. I love her to death. Her entire family. Rock.
Absolutely.
Who actually treated me like I was a grown man and tackled me and hurt me a lot when he was 18 and I was much younger, but still a lot of fun. That's just that's Phillipsburg, man. And we are all one family.
Before we get out of here, I want to liven this up a little bit.
Yo, what's up, people? I'm back.
No.
Hey, Bobby Fulper. No. Go ahead. Raise your hand if you miss me. Lift it up.
Nothing.
Before we do leave, I do want to say one thing. I want to give a shout out to Will and Jess Moravlag. I saw that Jess is pregnant. And, I congratulations to the both of you. Love you guys. I think it's fantastic.
Hey, Bobby, not to interrupt you. I want to give a shout out to Will and Jess on their pregnancy.
What he does.
I saw that, you were pregnant, and I'm like, yo, sup? And, so
God.
Good on you.
Thanks, Beck.
Listen, before we get out of here, congratulations, Jess. Thank both of you gentlemen for coming on and restoring my faith in Phillipsburg.
It's not over yet, guys. Okay, it's not over yet.
Mm-mm.
We got to fight, and we'll do it.
Hey, Mike, Bobby, are we bringing the show back?
That was my last question.
I stepped on your toes.
That's fine.
It's all right. I got big feet. It's I'm clumsy.
I would like to wait for Frank McVeigh to be cleared of all charges, and make no mistake, he will be cleared of all charges.
He will.
And then when people realize what truly happened, and Cardi, listen, if he wants to do a part 3, I will gladly do a part 3. When people realize what truly happened,
I'll do part 3. You want me back? Do you want me back?
No. Yeah.
We're gonna burn shit down.
All right, real fast to all those that are watching. There's still a good. There's still about 50 people watching. If you want a part 3 next Wednesday, actually, I can't listen.
We can take a couple weeks off.
We will decide on a date that works for us. But if you want a part 3, just say a yes in the comments.
If they want a part 3, I will happily oblige because I enjoy.
Do the Daniel Bryan chant. Yeah.
So once
5,
Frank, everything
6,
works out with Frank.
7.
They're counting.
8,
Listen, I would love to bring the show back.
9.
I think we need to be a little
10.
bit more careful with some of the content. But I do believe that I would much rather wait for Frank to be
If
available.
you want, Bobby,
11,
I could have
12,
a seminar with Randy
13,
and Frank and
14.
get them to tone down the jokes.
Yeah, Mike, could you do that for us? Because
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, they're the ones that need it.
Mike's the one out here handing out seminars.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Mike, could you do that for us?
Yeah, because
Thank you,
Randy, the mouth on that guy. Ugh.
Oh man, hey,
We're up
to Randy
to
Piazza.
20 yeses.
So we should do it. Listen, Randy Piazza, I got to give it a special
I
shout
love
out to
Randy.
You should have saw him in last night's meeting.
I was very proud of him.
Did you see it?
Yes, I watched it. And also shout out to Melissa Paulus. I loved that call. I love that call.
These are people who aren't scared. These are people who will speak the
Nobody
truth.
should be scared.
I agree.
Granted, I don't live there. I get that. But that's our town. That's still my town.
Right, for sure.
Like
I don't live there either. Guess what? Surprise. Say my name 3 times. I'm popping up on you like the Candy
Like Beetlejuice. He's like Beetlejuice or Candyman. Candyman was cool. He killed people, though. Beetlejuice was just funny, entertaining, like slapstick kind of stuff. Michael Keaton. Yeah.
So,
Bobby Fulper.
My man.
Hey, Bobby.
Gentlemen, much love to you both.
I love you guys.
There were some
TJ,
moments of there were some moments of seriousness. There were some moments of Mike.
Let's be real. That's why you asked me on. I mean, you wanted those moments.
Actually, I was expecting a more serious.
Oh, I could do that. Watch. Go ahead, ask me a question. No, ask me a question. Go. Shoot.
No.
Bobby Fulper. Ask me a question.
No. I'm afraid of the consequences, quite frankly.
No, I'll be serious. Watch.
How old are you, Mike?
Yo, TJ, that's messed up, dog.
Dude, I can't. Like, I'm telling you. Although I will say,
I feel like you're sandbagging me now.
When you're hosting a podcast and Mike Sexton comes on the show, isn't it a great experience? Try being a public official and having him on the show, and then 2 days later, you got mail.
Listen. This is why when I'm on the radio in Memphis, I don't use my name. Like I have a hold on to Bloom. I mean, it's completely different because I don't, my wife and kids, they don't want to get involved in my nonsense.
And that's a sad
people get
fact.
mad. People get mad so easy.
They do.
They get butthurt.
The truth is
I remember this one time, and this is a true story. I was outside and I was just peeing, and my neighbor was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Shut up! My dog does it." And it's just anyway. That's why I don't use my real name. Yo, what's up, TJ? TJ, what's TJ? That was my story, dude.
TJ, I would spend 8 hours in a studio editing a 45-minute podcast. Yeah. I love him. I still love him. 8 hours. Yeah.
I wasn't ready. Like, to be clear, in full transparency,
As soon as I
was not
up,
ready. I just clicked add to stream, and next thing you know, everything went left.
That's what I do. I'm an agent of chaos.
Well, Mike,
I love it.
TJ, I want to thank you for having me this evening.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Hey, Bobby, not to step on your toes. TJ, I want to thank you more than Bobby just did for having me on. And Bobby, I'm glad you took time out of your day to say what's up.
It's 9 o'clock. I mean,
Wow.
I'm married with 4 kids. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like,
okay. I
Right.
didn't say, hey, calm down, dude. Take
But I will
everything
say
so
this.
personal.
I did not say this on the last show.
Uh-huh.
I just want to say my wife and I have been married for 20 years this year. 20 years. We're celebrating our 20th
Congratulations.
anniversary. We're going to Vegas, and I hope Christina Wilson's watching because we're going to eat at her restaurant, and I'm going to remarry my wife in Vegas this June. So, as much as I would love to invite you all,
Major.
June 14th.
Listen, that's awesome, Bobby Fulper.
Thank you.
TJ, now I have an announcement.
If he says his wife, I'm going to.
Stop it, Bobby. All right, come on.
Go ahead.
TJ, my brother. My wife and I have been married for 28 years.
Dude, I can't.
And we're going to Vegas twice. And Christina Wilson, I remember you from high school.
You see?
We come into your restaurant like 3-4 times because I'm pretty big. I like to eat. Okay. And yeah, so I didn't say it last show. I didn't bring it up last show, but that's what's up. 29 years.
I can't.
Yeah, I feel Bobby Fulper.
I
thought
feel
you were Mr. Hot Shit. Oh, 21 years. 29, dog.
I said 20. It was only 20. I've been
Okay.
with her.
I really wasn't listening.
7th grade in the middle
That
school.
is the comment of the night.
Missy. I love you, Missy. Thank you.
Gentlemen, and to everybody that watched this evening, that gave a thumbs up, a laugh, whatever it was.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Whatever you guys are going through, keep going through it, keep fighting. That's what we do, Phillipsburg's bred fighters. We love y'all, and we will announce tomorrow the date and time for the next show.
Part 3?
Part 3.
Let's do it.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.